Hello everybody, this is HG Shaves here. I'm back with another video. Hope everybody is doing well. It's been crazy weather for a lot of us here in the US, and especially if you're in Texas, my former home. I hope that your power is restored, water restored, stuff like that, and that you're doing okay. Today, going to be using a very exciting razor, the Karve Shaving Company Christopher Bradley aluminum razor. I had owned the brass version of this razor for a while back in 2019, and actually some of my very first videos on this channel were me using the brass version of the razor. I had the C solid bar plate, and it was my daily driver for months and months and months. For one reason or another, I ended up selling it, but I always wanted to try out this aluminum version of the razor, and thank you to my friend Michael Friedberg for sending me his version of the razor to try out. And as he cautiously in a friendly way warned me, this is his favorite razor, and so I must be careful with it. So to get some of the details out of the way for you, this is the 3¼ inch handle. The whole razor is made of 7075 aluminum. It is then bead blasted to improve the finish of it, and also I assume it helps with the grip a little bit. And then it's anodized in what I used to think was black, but I actually now think this is more of like a dark gray. And actually in the light, it kind of has like a midnight blue effect, which is an interesting color, I think. The total assembled weight is something like 36 grams. So pretty light, obviously, as you'd expect from aluminum. The handle here is the same as the standard brass one, in terms of the etching here. It's like a cross stitch, I believe is how you would call it. And then also to show you, this is what the top cap looks like. Again, looks basically exactly the same as the brass one that I remember, except, well, this is aluminum, of course. And then finally, to show you what the base plate looks like, we're going to be starting with the D open comb plate today. And I just think the whole anodizing thing is super, super cool. And that, unfortunately, has been, I believe, to be the main production issue that they've had, has been because the anodizing is complicated and, takes serious supervision or something to that effect. They've had some production issues with the razor, but at the same time, the look really does it for me. So I'm going to show you how to assemble this razor. We don't usually do much of this on this channel, but why not? The blade today is a Gillette super thin Mejorada, made in Brazil and then sold to the Latin American market, as far as I know. Okay, so we've got our blade in there. Again, I don't normally do this, so this is kind of funny. Maybe I'll just put the cap on and then show you. Okay, so we've got the cap on, and then we are going to use a washer. Of course, any and all razors from, any and all 3-piece razors from Michael always come with a washer, and I tend to do that too with my razors. It's not that big a deal. And the one thing with the Karve, all the razors, they have a pretty long thread. So you start going with this handle here and you think that you're never going to make it, but you do. And it's pretty clear to me when it's tightened up. So here's what it looks like with the blade inside. Because the colors are contrasting and because it's dark on top, I might have to agree with Michael on this, that he's more interested in the blade tabs being covered, I think for practical purposes, not nicking your ears, stuff like that. But to me, actually, I feel like this might look better with the wide body cap that Karve has made for the brass and stainless razors. It just looks a little, I don't know, it looks a little strange to me from that angle. Now, from the side like this, or, from the bottom or something, it looks stunning. But maybe the wide body cap would be more suited to this razor. So anyway, that's the razor we got to put together. Who knew? And then what I'm going to be doing today, And for reasons that I'll explain in a moment here once I get into my shave, I'm going to do the first 2 passes with the D open comb, and then for fun, we're going to switch to the C solid bar for the 3rd pass. Those are the 2 plates that Michael sent me. So save some time today. I'm going to build my lather off camera, and then I'll bring you back in when I'm about to start my first pass. All right, we're back, and for those curious, we're using the original Bison base from L&L and Chatillon Looks, now Declaration Grooming. This is the Unconditional Surrender scent, and we're using the Zenith B2 bore. We had a little soap scent snafu at the beginning of the week. My wife was not interested in the soap that I was using to start the week, and so I said, you know what, why don't I use something all week that you actually do like, and this is one of her favorite scents, so that's how this got chosen. Anyway, this is not a soap review, razor review. So D open comb, we're going to go first pass here with the grain, and so the progression, oh, and we're dealing with 2 days growth. The kind of razor progression for this week was that I started off only using the C solid bar plate, because that was my daily driver with the brass version of the razor for months and months. And I remembered just how much, at least to me, it seems like you need to ride the cap on this razor. It is really kind of important that you do that. Took me maybe just a couple days of getting used to it, but as soon as you start riding the cap, then you are good to go. And the CSB is a very smooth yet quite efficient plate. It's got something like a 0.8 something millimeter gap, and it's got just slightly positive blade exposure. However, I found it to be kind of surprisingly efficient, and possibly due to the lightweight nature of this razor, it was hard to tell. And so I found myself over shaving a bit, and because it was just so smooth and definitely more efficient than you thought. And so then in my moment of wisdom, I thought, well, what if I try the open comb, which is going to cause you to just feel a little bit more blade naturally, and then also it's going to be 1 step higher. Now this is the D plate, and this actually served me better once I finally figured out how that I should be using this. And it feels more proportionally aggressive to me. I can really feel the razor cutting. And that just seems to be one of my big things at the moment. I like, I found this year I like relatively mild razors. Well, I knew that last year too. Like relatively mild, and then also proportionally aggressive. There are only a couple razors in my collection that are less efficient than they feel. It's like the razor feels aggressive, but it's not actually that efficient. Most often, it's a situation like the C solid bar plate, where it feels very smooth, but it's actually cutting more than you think. Okay, first pass there, all good. I'm gonna rinse and then bring it back in when I'm ready for pass number 2. Okay, we're gonna do pass number 2 now. And something I wanted to point out with this razor is I've been holding it pretty much like right up here. It's kind of the center of gravity, and also because it's so light, I think it's really important to keep as light a touch as possible. So on a heavier razor, I might do something like this, where I keep all 5 fingers on it and put my pinky on the bottom. But on this razor, it's really easy to maneuver if you keep a kind of a light grip just like this. So wanted to point that out. So as I was saying, I do prefer the D open comb here to the C solid bar, but in an ideal world where Karve has endless supply of these razors and I can try whatever I want, these 2 plates are still more efficient than I need for, you know, my everyday or every other day shaving needs. And so ideally, I'd love to try A or B open comb or solid bar. If even the A and B are kind of deceptively efficient, then I might prefer the open comb, even in the milder gap. And you know, that's something to consider too. This is something my friend SMS always mentions. Just because Karve offers all these plates doesn't necessarily mean that they're all equally as functional. I mean, of course, you know, we're talking about machining here, and so, and there's never been a question of Karve's ability to make a high quality razor. It's just, it would seem reasonable to assume that there are some, let's say, sweet spots amongst these razor plates, base plates, and they're not all going to be equally as good. So after 2 passes here, very close shave. I could stop here, but you know, there's a little bit of growth when I go against the grain. And so what I'm gonna do is what I said, I'm gonna change out to the C solid bar, and then we'll do a 3rd pass. Maybe I'll notice a difference. I actually haven't done this week. I only used 1 plate per shave early in the week, but let's get crazy. It's the last day, right? So I'm gonna rinse, change the plate, and then bring it back in just a sec. So we got the C solid bar plate installed, and then let's do a 3rd pass against the grain for fun. So that's interesting. I can definitely tell that I went from D open comb to C solid bar. This feels comparable to, you know, if you use the 6C or 6S from Rockwell, you use the 4 plate for the first 2 passes and you flip it to 2 for the last pass. And so I think people think that there is a huge difference between a C plate and a D plate, but you know, the open comb does add a little bit more blade feel, if not aggression. And so when you use them back to back, like I can notice a difference. And again, still riding the cap as much as I can. I guess when I go against the grain, my grip comes down a little bit. So that's easier to maneuver the razor. And so again, as far as I know, you can't get this razor right now. They have a waiting list, but I'm sure that it's full. And who knows the last time they did they fulfilled people's aluminum orders. If you've gotten one, let me know. I'd love to hear about it. But as far as I know, it's sort of at a standstill until they can figure out production quality control things. Maybe quality control is not the right word. Work out the finishing aspects. Because when they first released it, they sent out, promotional razors to YouTube shavers. And then there were a couple drops after that because I can remember that I tried to catch one and I did not succeed. It was like they released like 8, 10, 12 razors at 10 o'clock on a Saturday. So we're feeling around here. And I'm really glad that I finally figured out that, the D open comb works a bit better for me for daily driver stuff, but it's nice to switch to the C for that third pass, huh? Very close shave, on par with, some other modern razors of recent memory. Again, I can notice a difference in the efficiency of some of these modern razors to some of the vintages that I love to use so much. So just something to note. I'm going to put on some aftershave and then I'm going to come back and give you my final thoughts. Final thoughts on the Karve Christopher Bradley aluminum razor. It's just a lot of words to keep track of. This is a beautiful razor. It is the most elegant aluminum razor I have ever used, ever seen. And, I do love how my fine aluminum slant shaves, but it's really easy to see that this is a much better made razor. And when both are available, in theory, this is actually cheaper than that razor. And so obviously this is a great option. Again, I was able to work with the C solid bar and the D open comb plate this week. But again, in an ideal world, I might like to try a more mild option. And also the handle, I was choking up on it so much anyway, I'd be curious to try the 3-inch handle instead of this one, which is the 3 1/4. Do you all have any experience with this razor? Did you try to catch a drop like me, however long ago, and then totally fail like I did? Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about aluminum razors in general. They are starting to become more regularly released with different razor makers, and especially when you can make a high quality version like that, I think it's really appealing. Because again, there are other people like me who don't feel that the quality is always there with some of those aluminum razors. So anyway, leave your thoughts down below in the comments if you'd like. And as always, if you have anything to say, you can always reach out via Instagram or email. But for now, this has been HG Shaves. Take care, stay safe, stay healthy, all this stuff. Bye.